What is an algebraic expression? An algebraic expression contains numbers, operations, and one or more variables. What is a term? The terms of an algebraic expression. The terms of 4x plus 7 are 4x and 7. So there are two terms in this expression. In this expression, there are 1, 2, 3 terms. What is a variable? A variable is a symbol that represents a mystery number. To vary means to change. So a variable is a representation of a number that can change. For example, x is a variable in the expression x plus 1. X could equal the number 3. X could equal the number 2. X could equal the number 5. We don't know what x equals, but it means that any number x plus 1 is an expression. What is a variable? A variable is a symbol that represents a mystery number. For example, x is a variable in the expression x plus 1. X, in this case, can represent any number. It could represent if x were 3, then my answer would be 4. If x were 10, my answer would be 11. If x were 17, my answer would be 18. The word variable comes from the word to vary, which means to change. What is a constant? A constant is a term without a variable, which means the same thing it does in science. A constant means it is not going to change. In the expression 2x plus 8, the term 8 is a constant. In the expression 3y plus 6, 6 is the constant. What is a factor? A factor is a number or a variable that is multiplied by another number or variable to form a product. So 2x means 2 times x, or 2 groups of x. So whatever x is, you have 2 of them. So if x equals 2, then you have 2 groups of 2, which equals 4. That means that the factors 2 and x are going to equal a number. 2 is a factor of that number, and x is a factor of that number. What is a coefficient? A coefficient is the numerical factor of a term that contains a variable. In the algebraic expression 6k plus 8, the coefficient of the term 6k is the number 6. The coefficient 6 tells us that whatever k is, we need 6 of them, or 6 times k, where 6 and k are factors of a product. Now you try it. Can you identify the terms, constants, factors, and coefficients in this expression, 3x plus y plus 25? I will give you a few seconds. Are you ready? If you said that there are 3 terms in this expression, you would be correct. The first term is 3x, the second is y, and the third is the number 25. If you said that there is one constant in this expression, you would be correct. The number 25 does not accompany a variable. It is by itself and it does not change. So the number 25 is our constant. The factors in this expression, there is only one factor pair, and that is 3 times x. So we know that 3 is a factor and x is a factor. And lastly, the coefficient. Since we know a coefficient accompanies a variable, it tells us how many of that variable we have. That would be 3x, which also means 3 times x, or 3 groups of x. So the coefficient is the number 3. How'd you do? You ready for another? Let's try it again. Let's look at the expression xy plus 7y plus 6. How many terms are there? If you are thinking there are 3 terms, that would be correct. The first term is xy. The second term is 7y. And the third term is the number 6. There are 3 terms in this expression. How about constants? Well, since we know a constant is a number that does not change and it cannot have a variable with it, that has to be the number 6. What about factors? Since we know that factors are numbers that we multiply together to form a product, there are several factor pairs here. Our first is x times y. So we have a factor x multiplied by the factor y. Our second pair is 7 times y, or 7 and y. And lastly, we have 2 coefficients. One is really obvious. One says that we need 7 groups of y, so one coefficient is the number 7. There's also one more coefficient, and that is the number 1. Because really, isn't it 1x times y? So 1 would be our last coefficient. I hope this helps you with your vocabulary in this unit.